Alright, I'm back. But yeah, as I was saying in the last part, it's like, you know how these games have changed from being in favor of a lot of, like, free speech and all this other shit to straight up being weirdly, sensitive, weirdly hateful. A lot of this shit has just become ran and created by a bunch of bitches. Bunch of people who want to police how adults think and behave in their spare time, which is just fucking stupid.
Kane, about what happened. What you said.
Can't focus on that now. I was wrong. I had a moment of doubt. I just...
The infection. The thing inside of Taylor, inside of Hendricks, inside of me. How do we stop
Demons.
All we can do is hope to contain it. If we can stop Taylor, you may have a chance. If we get you to the proper facilities, we just have to keep Hendricks on track.
It may not be official, but we have an understanding. He knows I'm the one calling the shots now.
His heart's in the right place. I think he'll do the right thing.
Push me out of the way there, buddy. Try it again. I think a radio might come on over here. Just dickweed on his iPad.
Today we received a call from the embassy advising us to remain inside our hotel. It quickly became evident why, even from here, we can discern the sounds of gunfire.
Today we pledge our support for the people of Egypt. Their bravery in the face of NRC oppression stands as an example to us all.
Alright, so we're going to send in... The WA is going to assault the tower. They're going to send in... Here in the Lotus Towers, they're going to send in the Winslow Accord to back up the Egyptian army. Now, Lotus Towers, this one is probably one of my favorite missions. Because it was sort of the trend of a lot of Xbox 360 games. What they would do is they would have the final mission be on a skyscraper, and that's kind of what this, whole game has been throughout. This whole game has been the sort of subversive, satirical, poking at the Xbox 360 trends. There's that bit where your base gets attacked and all of that, and they did that with next-gen graphics, or at least, slightly better graphics than what they've been doing before anyway. And the whole thing with it is, like, mostly to showcase how new technology eventually buried these decent quality standards, and how there was this conflict of interest between that and big business won out because the house always wins, right? And with the conversations that they have about the demons and Corvus and all this other shit, it's... Taylor throughout this game has been trying to keep calm in the face of the storm, and
Hendricks was right.
He's been having a problem
Taylor
with
cut a deal
that.
with the NRC. Right now, he's under their protection in their Cairo stronghold, Lotus Tower.
You can see that killing all of these people has started to take an impact on his soul.
From going as batshit crazy as he is.
He's grown a guilty conscience of sorts.
We have the Egyptian military and the civilian militia fighting by our side.
A sudden uprising would catch the NRC off guard, weaken their grip on the region.
Just like their attack on Ramses, we use it as a distraction to get on them. Once Taylor's dealt with, we find a way to get this thing out of our heads. Whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes. There you go. So... there's the text crawl. It basically says that Hendricks was the one to kill Dylan Stone, who was the real person we're hunting instead of Taylor.
Once Hakim is dead, we get
Even
to the
despite
security
his
station.
reservations,
Then
Hendricks
we
did
drop
the
the
right
death
thing.
system. Then the uprising will truly begin. I don't give a shit about your uprising.
Save it.
Hendricks starts to, he's having this nervous tick with the, holding his neck, right?
These amateurs better not get in our way.
There's also all these like baby photos and photos
Please,
of other
please
people
don't kill me!
who beat the fuck out of these guys with the riot shields. Now, originally you were supposed to be able to pick up and use these shields.
Okay.
Some alpha
Nearest
builds of the
security
game
station's
did
on the
find
25th
them.
floor. That's our target. Once you're there, I'll overheat the NRC dead network.
They also
Once
had
the
a
NRC
gun
realize
that
what
was
they
like
are
the
dealing
Ripper
with,
from
they will bring
Ghosts. It's pretty
reinforcements
cool.
from other parts of the city. We will face heavy resistance every step of the way.
You can also help those people out. If you kill the dudes with riot shields, they just go in here and panic. But, sorry, I fucking snot on my fucking mic. But anyway, you kill the dudes with riot shields. And a nice detail I like here is, you know, it's the same thing as Ghost. You can see these missing people, missing persons. They have all these pictures of missing people and family and friends throughout it, and clothes and hanging cloths and other, you know, shot computers and other shit. This really makes a world feel lived in, as Ghosts, I think, did a great job of showing. And when these guys are dead, their corpses don't just immediately fucking disintegrate. Well, you know, when I killed these guys, they got fucking killed. I also like this electronic display saying it's 102 degrees out there. But this is really where I think the Spec Ops The Line influence comes in through this game. You start to see more violent-looking graffiti, especially here. Where Spec Ops The Line, I think, did a much better job of showing the violent graffiti all the time. You start to see it very subtly when you go in through here. There's a few jets and planes. And the graffiti, really, I think if they had had more of the Spec Ops The Line graffiti throughout the whole game, it would have made more sense to people. But there's things like this that start flashing in. Skulls hallucinate, and the fire pops in. And, you know, you'd blink and you'd miss it, and there would be, like, ravens that pop in. Like, I've not... Like I say, this is the way the game works. I've never seen anybody fucking mention the graffiti hallucinations where the ravens pop in and out. There's the frozen forest. Nobody was fucking paying attention. Plus, it really easily blends into the background, where you would have this shit over there look normal, but then you'd see shit pops in and out infrequently. If you wait around, you wouldn't know to specifically look for shit like that. And more like Freemasonry and Illuminati and Satan imagery just starts popping up the more you go through here. There's a raven with a skull in it, and that dead guy, right? That's some real Spec Ops The Line looking fucking art throughout this. And there's the Lotus Towers. For some reason, too, they have the Chinese text on here. Like I say, it's probably a mix of this game just not being finished, but also them not being able to go through the art assets and redo the shit. Could also just be another, like, you know, maybe them saying that China's influence on this game with Tencent was not particularly a good thing, so I don't know what that says. It probably just says Lotus Towers in Chinese or some, maybe Japanese or something. I've got no idea. Because Singapore in development of this game was originally China. It switched over to Singapore because China did not like that. And since Activision is not going to say, okay, well, don't release the game in China because of how it might make you feel, they're going to say, you're going to switch that to Singapore even if it doesn't make sense. Make it happen. Also, there's some, you know, other hallways back here, but, you know, if you're going to have hallways that lead out to nothing, can you at least do a good job like this where you fucking just cover the shit up, then even have stuff back there so it looks convincing enough at least? And they do. And you know, when the shit goes out there to nothing, there's like a fog gradient.
General Hakim is giving a speech on the balcony. Remember, the attack must be brutal.
There's a bunch of guys over here.
A symbol of strength.
Out there,
Cairo
graffiti's
waits
gonna
to
pop
attack
in and
on
out.
the death of General Hakim. Cut the head from the serpent and let its body destroy itself.
So there's a lot of markets here as well. There's another teddy bear. They just have teddy bears all throughout this. It's once again like Modern Warfare 3 with the hidden teddy bears. They often would have like dead cows or teddy bears with blood on them. Treyarch and Infinity Ward both. Your medals are in good hands. Now, Infinity Ward would often, you know, make the shit more heroic, but Treyarch with all the dream stuff really starts to, you know, go crazy when they're not bound by any particular setting, and I think that's what they did best here with, like, Ravens and the Frozen Forest art. It's things like this that nobody really fucking mentions, is how they show the Frozen Forest, you know, throughout this mission and the whole Spec Ops The Line influence of this stuff. Because they just have it in their heads that Spec Ops The Line's a better game. How dare this game ever consider using it, when it's like the whole fucking point was being blunt but critical of the lack of imagination that it had in its setting, and especially just how everything was the fucking same to the point of absurdity, to the point where it almost more closely resembled brainwashing. And down there is, you know, some graffiti that pops up, and a bunch of ravens as well. Obey and you will be rewarded. I mean, the flat design of a lot of this shit that we use now is a lot like fucking propaganda. So for a game to straight up make propaganda with the flat design, you know, gotta say, you know, that's pretty nice. And there's all these missing people who, you know, are right next to the ravens, the frozen forest. All the memories of them fade away. And, like, that's one thing I like with this, right? It looks like it's just a stain on the wall, but then you look closer. Uh-oh. Ravens in the frozen forest. How could there be frozen forest and raven graffiti everywhere unless your character is dreaming? That doesn't make any fucking sense. The AI in this game is possessed by the devil. They have all of this fucking Freemason and Satan imagery throughout, so...
What? How the hell did you...
It makes sense. And all these leaders here, right? They're just a sideshow for the real
Citizens of
attraction,
Cairo!
not being the AI menace.
Now is your time! Take back your city!
So we've stricken... fucking struck that guy.
The
It's
NRC
also
are in
the space
disarray, but
dog
they will
from
soon
the
regroup.
zombies.
Brothers, let us take back our city!
So if you wait, there's some graffiti that'll pop up here and there. Down there as well. The true enemy. Propaganda. So if you wait just a minute, it'll pop up, but there's a bunch of graffiti all around of ravens and dead people screaming out. And the graffiti will pop in and out to kind of do like that Joker thing from Arkham Knight. It's like, oh gee, did I really see that? Or was I just hallucinating? And that's the thing, it did get me the first time I played this. Was like, you know, oh, wait a minute, what's that? You know? And nothing's there. I'd look at it for a split second, and there's skulls with fire that pop up. Oh hey, wait a minute, something's definitely over there. And the way that it works is on like a interval, like on a timer. There's just this big wide open space, right? Or down there with, you know, the mark on the wall. And also just all this other, you know, other shit. And the graffiti on that is like the nuke. They'd rather this place get fucking bombed out. Ravens over there on the wall. And the sort of fire and the way that the graffiti looks is almost like it's supposed to fade into the background. If they had done more shit like that throughout this campaign, that really would have like sold the whole dream look that they're going for, and really made it a lot easier to understand, I think. But it's not until this mission that it becomes a lot more blatant, where you can see the crows and the trees and the blood vessels and the blood veins. with all the medical terminology and medical equipment and other shit like this with the towers, Illuminati, you know, half of these doors being like some of that same fucking look with the circles, right? The same circles keep popping up, the circles of hell, the Illuminati, Freemasonry. They really fucking hammer home on the whole demon thing they're going with, the demonic technology throughout this, and how upgrading to next gen stuff that was restrictive was ultimately very harmful for society. Because you're seeing what we went from. We went from fucking bad Windows updates to more like fucking wars on the streets. And yeah, Treyarch was pretty right to accurately predict this kind of a, you know, homegrown and worldwide, you know, rioting and terrorism. This is what happens when you make this technology and play God. Technology that's supposed to be free and open after you pay for it, you do whatever the fuck you want with it. This is what it leads to. You can only fuck over people enough until eventually this shit gets standardized in society. People take that example that you've taken and they abuse it, and then they start becoming dictators. And then this shit eventually leads to wars like this, where there's a bunch of shooting and guns and Molotovs and throwing shit at the dog. Alright, well I've got footage of that shit working another time. I guess it's just not gonna pop up. It popped up earlier. Maybe it's like I gotta go through here and then I go back out and then it'll pop. Yep, there it is. That's what it is. So I had to go through the hallway and then that pops up. See? Now it's back. Skull Raven. See what I mean? That's more fucking Spec Ops The Line inspired shit. The trees and the ravens, they pop up and they start coming in. They pop up next to the dog from the zombies map on the moon. Astro Move Industries, building your future world. Well, wonderful world they built here, huh? Don't look like the future's so bright. Wait, now it does. But anyway, that's enough of this area. There's some dudes in gas masks. You know, these people want to get fucking nuked, or they want to nuke the NRC off the fucking planet anyway. Could be a bit of both. More ravens over here. Missing people posters and other shit. Just really nice environmental world building. Nice textures on the walls too. At least the lighting anyway. Bye-bye. Bunch of civilians running through. It's been too long since Call of Duty's just made a nice, you know, straightforward action game like this. Screaming lady as well with the blood coming from her mouth. You know, that's the kind of shit I would see in like Spec Ops The Line or high-profile satires of Call of Duty, not actual Call of Duty. So when Call of Duty did this to itself, that's actually pretty cool. See, they took the criticism to heart, but, you know, naturally, since they wanted to make you still feel like you were in an action movie here, well, you know, you're gunning down 100,000 people, but none of it ever feels rewarding. They took the sort of advice of, like, you shouldn't glorify war to heart and made this incredibly anti-war game while they were, you know, trying to promote next-gen tech. They decided to show that next-gen tech is going to fuck up everything. And that's, you know... I love it. There's more Illuminati here. There's a lot of Illuminati in this corner. There's a couple, yeah. The all-seeing eye. The work of Satan. There's like 7 Illuminatis in the corner, and tentacle over there. More Illuminati. All-seeing eye. Egyptian shit. Pyramids, reptilians, and lizard people. And if you don't believe me that it's Illuminati, they actually do... If you don't believe me that it's Illuminati, they straight up have Spectre. Spectre has a cosmetic in the multiplayer, like a skin you can get, that is straight up just Illuminati. So yeah, that's Illuminati.
The 25th floor.
Copy that. Moving.
Here they come! Cut them down!
Bye-bye. And since clearly most war crimes no longer exist thanks to the Geneva Convention, you know, war crimes that they tend to do throughout this, it's like, oh geez, where's the Geneva Convention? I don't think the Geneva Convention fucking applies since the United Nations no longer exists. So, new rules were made entirely, which leads to all kinds of horrific warfare, as you see. If the old rules no longer apply, they get creative. And they start doing and saying and, you know, all this shit. Old things from World War I with chemical weapons get fucking used. People get burned. You're not allowed to burn people in wars. That's literally a war crime with the United Nations. But if the United Nations was dissolved, their rules, you know, that's the thing. Their rules can't apply if the United Nations is no longer there to enforce them. So thanks to Raul Menendez, the United Nations was dissolved since it could no longer effectively, you know, protect people from drone strikes, and they make the Winslow Accord instead, which did not have the Geneva Convention. So, thanks to the lack of a Geneva Convention in Black Ops 3's world, that's why this shit is so brutal. Also, this shit's just a fucking bulletproof glass case. But there's a sci-fi electronics store. This is the kind of shit that I liked the idea of seeing in, like, you know, fucking Cyberpunk, was just show me what these fucking sci-fi stores and marketplaces and other shit would look like, rather than a store called PP. I don't need 5,000 sex shops to get me interested in your game. If anything, that shows me you're not willing to take your story and its setting seriously, so I'm gonna not be interested in it. Meanwhile, Black Ops 3, they take this shit pretty seriously. And they have all this cool, like, abstract art with shit, the margaritas and other stuff. They do have a few ads for, like, strip clubs and shit in the game, but it's only a few.
Stay on the roof.
It's not
It'll
every
take you all the way.
fucking city.
Taking us up.
And that's just, like, one time in the Vengeance
NRC
mission, right?
reinforcements are flooding the lower levels. Your mission will fail if we do not hold them back.
You got a suggestion?
Ravens. There's the burning ravens
I will
over
fight
there.
alongside my people. Deactivate the mobile shops below
State
this
of
level.
control.
That will buy you the time you need to capture Taylor.
Go for it, Boy Scout.
Bye-bye.
Civilians ahead. Watch your fire.
More NRC, moving in.
They're locking down the floor. I'm scanning
Bye-bye.
for options.
They just mass murdered a bunch of civilians. Because remember, these guys are not the good guys, they're the bad guys. I remember with Call of Duty logic, anyone with a vaguely foreign accent is a bad guy. As it should be. That logic still applied even when they were making futuristic games. But yeah, it's like I'm saying with Cyberpunk, like, you know, if every fucking building is a sex or an alcohol or a gym, you know, it's like a strip club or whatever the
Moving
fuck
through
else, all the
Breach
ads
Point.
relate to
Find
those
us a
three
path,
things.
That air duct leads into
That
the
just
security
doesn't,
station.
that doesn't seem as relatable as all the shit that they have here with televisions and
Really?
monitors and
That's the
water
best you've
and all
got?
this other shit. Nervous tick again on Hendrix there, but you know, that's why I like this.
Take it
This
easy,
shit
Hendrix.
takes itself
This isn't you.
seriously.
It's the thing
So even
inside
when
your
it's,
head.
you know, cartoonish, there's dirt all over the fucking walls. The world feels like it's lived in. With Cyberpunk, there's a lot of dirty stuff, but
There,
throughout
that
the most
vent,
of it,
dead
thanks
ahead.
to the shitty lighting, you barely can fucking see it. If you were to think of
Enemies
the
on both
silhouette of a
floors.
character, they
Spread
just
out.
look like fucking something out of Five Nights at Freddy's sister location. And that game, already aside from not taking itself particularly seriously, has of course been prone to all manners of terrible DeviantArt shit, so... The YouTube poops where people would say that they're, you know, gonna get fucked by Freddy, or just the
Interface
way
with
that
that console and get me in the
people
system.
act in that fucking community, because usually that's the problem with furry shit, is once there's one, there's bound to be all of them. But on the monitors
Khalil,
over there
I'm
in the background, you can fucking see all the
System
writing
overload in
and
3 minutes.
Hey, Kane.
destruction.
How about you stop showing off for Khalil and start looking for Taylor, huh?
Stay focused, Hendricks.
That's the one thing I like about Hendricks throughout this. He is
Got him.
bitching,
Taylor's being
but
held
he's
in
also
detention
just
block
not taking
7,
anyone
90th floor.
else's shit. You know, it's the thing about it is, I've known people like Hendricks who will bitch and complain like that in reality. So even when it's a sci-fi
He could tear
setting,
his
they
way
still
out
have
of there, no
enough of
problem.
here and now to make
Why
it
doesn't
seem
he?
relatable.
What's the play?
The fuck? Can he... Can it see us?
Yeah, this got cut
I
back.
don't know how much of the real
I
Taylor
imagine
is
they
left.
were gonna do some like,
I think his brain is fried.
since he is celebrity, you know, from fucking Law and Order, he's you know, cameo. They were gonna do some shit where it's like, oh, that's the evil villain speech, but they had to cut that out late in development and make Taylor a good guy. So some of this shit got cut out. Then they do some trippy shit like this, which I imagine probably would have had some narration at one point, but no dice, not anymore at least. That's John Bernthal, I think, is his actor. I don't know. I don't watch Law and Order.
Kane! I hope those dead systems are coming down!
30 seconds. Hold your ground.
There you go. Use the thermal scope, Luke.
Lieutenant Khalil.
It's another thing
Dead
I hate
network
about
has
the
been
Raps is
destroyed.
they don't have a
You
thermal
are a go.
signature.
Confirmed. Air support moving in.
Yeah, the volumetric lighting here is so much better than what games tend to do nowadays. Looks like how every fucking light looks dramatic as a result of, you know, there being a shitload of them and smoke and all this other stuff. There's some other shit around there. Let's explore the environment a fair bit before I go ahead. But yeah, the lotus as well. It's that bit in Greek mythology where the lotus is like a trap or some shit. Oftentimes, there was that bit in Percy Jackson, I remember, with the Lotus Hotel, where they eat the lotus flowers and they realize they've wasted like a week or two, and some other people who were at the hotel believed it was like the 80s, but they'd just been there for a while because they'd been keep eating the lotuses, right? But, you know, it's ran by, I don't know, a monster or the Hydra or some shit. I forget that movie. It was a little cheesy, but the thing with it. Oh yeah, also they were Luke. I remember that guy. He was playing Call of Duty. Great fucking actor. Um, the Disney TV show had nothing on that portrayal. That one was so much better. Probably could have like made them look a little younger and do the whole Harry Potter thing instead, but whatever. Two it is. But anyway, with Call of Duty here, like the thing they have is they show a lot of this iconography throughout the game, and they show the behavior of Hendrix and all these other characters. See, this kind of shit lines up with how it works in reality. So no matter how fantastical their setting is, with that one foot in the door of reality and the way that a lot of people behave, because I've totally known people who behave and act like Hendrix, right? I've known people who get fed up like that. They're doing a bunch of hard work over at wherever the fuck it was, and because I used to lift a lot of heavy machinery, forklifts and shit like that. Yes, I used to be a pallet jack and forklift certified user for Walmart. And a lot of that shit that I would do, there would be people who were like that. And a lot of this game is very much like it takes place in industrial areas. Shit that reminds me a lot of Walmart as well. Excuse me. And other stores like fucking Home Depot. And when you're doing a lot of work and shit like that, the behavior of Hendrix, where he's seeing, okay, we're gonna go get Taylor, but oh yeah, we can't find him, and he gets impatient and all that. Okay, yeah, lines up with reality. The same shit with like Lamar from GTA 5 or Franklin or Trevor. Yeah, the behavior of these people lines up with how they are in reality. It doesn't mean you always agree with the bullshit they fucking do. It doesn't mean you always go out there in the world and do that shit. It just means that you have believable characters by comparison to constantly fucking breathing Barbie doll woman number 758 girl boss clone, you know? It's like, this is how the I move with my mind. I just move shit, you know, like or that. Like that's the thing I notice with the new Call of Duties is like how much they fucking breathe. I do not need Captain Price to be breathing this much compared to the old games where he would often only breathe that much if he had like jumped out of a fucking burning building, which hey, you know, if I needed to catch my breath, that makes sense, but it sounds like they're constantly fucking out of breath. When they breathe in here, like Hall or whatever, you know, he's like, "Okay, let me help you out." And she's breathing like that because she's like, oh no, Taylor got shot by Corvus. Okay, she's a little scared, but she's gonna help him. You know, it's like it's that. There's things like that. It's like, oh no, oh no, Taylor's been shocked by this. Okay, let me help you. It's little distinctions like that that help me take it seriously versus not seriously. If you have every character constantly fucking breathing or grunting into their fucking microphone, well, I can't entirely take it as seriously. It's the same like problem with anime where the characters will have retarded reactions, or a lot of the people who watch anime will just question everything aggressively like a fucking preschooler. No, thank you. It's like, oh, you can't have known that that would have happened, right? Yeah, I mean, at a certain point, this shit becomes fucking predictable. They just ask the same question. If I were to say in an anime, and this is usually the thing that gets me off of it, that just makes me not fucking care because of retarded dialogue like this. The Lion of the Sea in the Red System cannot break the column because of the beehive. The Lion of the Sea in the Red System cannot break the column because of the beehive? Yes, Dubs asked. I just fucking said that. Now, because of your arrogance and your fucking dumbass repeating of the question that I had just said, or the fucking statement I had just said, I'm gonna fucking shoot you and kill you. You know, they won't just fucking shoot the dumbass for fucking being a dumbass. If they said that in the fucking game and then a dumbass said that, he'd be shot on sight for being a fucking wasteful piece of shit, like some Darth Vader shit where they fucking, you know, you are not allowed to question me in that manner. And they fucking, you know, force choke him. You are an inquisitive one. Too many questions like that could lead a man to perhaps choke on his aspirations. And Vader would fucking choke the bitch, you know. Very stark distinction in the way that they tend to make the dialogue. Where if the characters start going on too much, they'll just shut them the fuck up. Now they'll just keep going and going and going and going and going. So, speaking of going, I'm gonna get going. Thanks for watching.